Can y'all hear me okay? Turn the volume up. Can y'all let me know if you can hear me okay? Okay, I got a heart, so I'm assuming that's good. Okay, perfect. Yay! Hi. Wonderful. So I know we have a few minutes. Why don't y'all give me a shout out? Where are you guys listening from? What cities? Oh, did we freeze? Oh, there we go. San Antonio. I'm here too. That's awesome. California. Okay. Tempe, Arizona is my home. Fort Worth. Ooh, I'll be making some trips up there soon actually. End of September. Hi. This is fun. I don't think I've ever done a big live like this. So y'all will have to DM me or email me feedback after all this is done. Hi, Susan. Hey, bro. So hopefully you guys don't hear too much sound in the background. I'll share a lot of my story as we get started here, but hi, Maida. I actually moved into a community because I'm interested in solving generational poverty, and I think education and housing is the way to go. And the neighbors are actually blasting cumbias, and I was a little hesitant. I didn't know if you guys could hear it, so I did the sweet neighbor walk over. I'm like, could you please turn it down a little? But they were very sweet. So I'm living in a trailer park. I own the home that I live in, but I'm here because I'm studying and I really want to understand what true low-income housing is like. So I'm exploring those different segments of real estate. So if you hear some cumbias, and I know I wanted to dance, trust me, I was like, maybe this fits the clientele, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Yeah, I truly could intro. They were, you know what? They were setting me up. That was a gift. I don't even need a personal DJ to do my intro. They had me set up. You can probably still hear them a little bit, but hopefully it doesn't interrupt too much. So I have my laptop out here to help me tell time because I don't know what I did with my cell phone. I think I left it at the office. I'm not sure, but we'll find it. Okay, you don't hear him. Okay, you're good. Thank you. Oh, my brother's telling me my phone is at the house. Okay, I guess I'll have to find it. All right, ladies. Well, I want to be very, very respectful of your time. Thank you so much for deciding to spend this time of your day with me. I know you have a lot of choices and a lot of different things you can do. So thank you for joining me here and being a part of this, hopefully what becomes a new tribe of women that are wholeheartedly supporting each other and making boss moves together. So eventually that's what we hope that this bigger network becomes. So I'm going to get started and just share a little bit about myself. My name is Avilia. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. My father is from Chihuahua, Mexico. So shout out to anybody who's connected. Obviously, Mexicans were so proud, right? Latinos. My mother is from Texas. So my father immigrated from Mexico, and my mother, her family was from around Texas. I didn't really spend too much time living in Texas until 2 years ago. So prior to this, I was in New York City. And so born and raised in Arizona. I went to Arizona State University for my undergrad. My undergrad degree was in econ and business econ. And after that, I moved off to New York City. So how did that happen? So I remember being a sophomore in undergrad, and one of my professors asked me, Avilia, what are you going to do with your life? And I was the first in my family to go to a university, and I just said, I'm not sure. I guess I'll just crunch stats for the government or something like that. What do you do? And he obviously took me under his wing and introduced me to some incredible people who introduced me to Wall Street. So this mentor, I meet him. He's very successful, beautiful home. Obviously, he's got it going on. And I'm like, how did you get this life? What is this? And he said, how do you feel about numbers? Have you heard about Wall Street? And I had no clue. He said, would you consider a job working with numbers? And I said, well, how much do they make? Right? Because that's what we all want to know. We want money. We go to college to make that money. So he said they make 6 figures and you could make that right out of college. No brainer, sign me up. What do I have to do? And that's when he told me it's in New York City. So I was ready to go. Dad was not happy about it. And I can get into a whole segment of how culturally our families sometimes aren't set up to support our growth. And that's okay. It's okay. It's a learning process. And so I moved out to New York City. I worked on Wall Street. Yes, the Wall Street that you see on movies, although depicted a little extreme. But yes, that's what I did. I covered Latin American clients, clients from all over Mexico, all over Latin America, mostly from Mexico and Brazil though. One of my proudest deals was Grupo Bimbo. Are y'all familiar with Grupo Bimbo? So Bimbo products. I helped them issue their very first debt IPO. So the transactions we used to do were multi-million-dollar transactions and sometimes billion-dollar transactions. Got to fly all over Latin America with clients, without clients, to pitch to clients. So that was a lot of fun. And then, yes, their fun are so good. And so I was able to really grow. So why investment banking? They pay you really well, but they work you. So, when you're in investment banking, it's very typical to work 100 hours a week. So what you end up learning in 3 years is something a typical person would learn in 6. So it's fast paced. There's money on the table. But it was a beautiful experience, and I really did love it so much. The money was so good. But that's when my mentor tapped me on the shoulder and he said, Mija, what about an MBA? We've been thinking about this. It's time to gear up for that. And he had actually flown me to Harvard to visit the campus when I was a sophomore in undergrad. And as soon as I sat in that classroom, I could not believe the level of education that one attains from such a prestigious university. I mean, I couldn't wait to be learning in that environment and in that classroom. So I was hooked from the first time I visited the campus. So a few years after Wall Street, he basically said, we got to start gearing up for the MBA. And so for those of you that are familiar with applying to almost any grad school, there's always a admissions exam. So mine was the GMAT. Don't remind me of that GMAT. I hate the GMAT. I took it multiple times. It was a rough patch, but we got through it. I ended up moving to a nonprofit after Wall Street to focus on my GMATs, and because I became very passionate about getting more women on Wall Street. I feel very privileged that a mentor took me under his wing and helped me get that job onto Wall Street. And there's a nonprofit called Sponsors for Educational Opportunities. So if you have any friends or family that are in undergrad right now who want to get to Wall Street, follow that company. They are there to help minorities get to Wall Street. So I went to work for them as an assistant director, and literally just coaching students and trying to find students who wanted to do the industry, coaching them, getting them there, mentoring them while they were there. It was a very much a passion project to me because, first of all, when I went, there weren't many Latinas I could tap into. I didn't have a Latina on speed dial that I could just say, all this stuff is going through my mind and I'm feeling this way. How do I relate? There was literally no one. See, that's my old roommate, Susan. She knows that all I did was buy boxed pizza and wings and ranch and study. Truth is there. So after the nonprofit, I applied to business school, and I'll never forget that feeling. It was one of the most incredible feelings I had ever felt in my life. You get this mentorship and you're running and you're running and you're running towards your goals and you're like, I think I'm going to make it. But when they actually say, yes, you're admitted, any goal after that has just felt so incredible. Getting to Wall Street, meeting that hurdle, getting to Harvard, meeting that hurdle. It was just, I can't hold that inside of me. I can't contain that I felt. I've mentored more women to get to Wall Street. I've mentored more women into Harvard, and it's one of my biggest passions. I schedule time for that. I really, truly believe that I'm in this position, in a very, very blessed position, because of the hard work and labor of my parents teaching me that work ethic, and the just the luck and having mentors saying, there's something special about you, kid, and I'm gonna help you. So that's kind of my story. That's a lot of my background. What I do for fun, I love to travel. I've been to probably 15 countries by now. I think, maybe, give or take one or two. Anyways, my mom could tell you. And then I am especially obsessed with Japan. I did some work there with companies and government, so if you scroll on my Instagram page, you can see every country I've traveled to. You can see my time in Japan. I made it on the Japanese news once, speaking in English, obviously with a translator, but still. Let's see. So why this life coaching thing? Again, I just feel like I have this source of knowledge and information that I just can't contain, and I don't know how else to get it out of me, and how do I hit the masses and coach the masses and share everything that I know, because I don't want it to go to waste. And I think, I'm 33 years old. And so I don't want to hold this inside of me. So I decided to do this, and I was doing one-on-one coaching, and then I started to realize that a lot of us are struggling with the same things, and my clients started to just have the same opportunity. So I thought, why don't I just group this and then go from there and see how that works. So that's where we are today. How long did it take me to finish school? Undergrad, 4 years. The MBA, 2 years. I worked my ass off through undergrad. I worked a lot in undergrad. I came out with little to no debt, but my MBA, I went full-time MBA. That was my me time. I took on all the debt that came with that, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this a little later as well. So I did my MBA in 2 years there at Harvard full-time. So a lot of you signed up to get the information ahead of time. So what I was doing is, as I was preparing for this life coaching stuff, I thought there's got to be a process to this. There's somehow an answer to, how do I feel happiness? How do I feel balanced? And we're human. We're repetitive. So I thought there's got to be a math problem or logic to this, right? So I read a bunch of psychology papers. I read books. And I basically boiled it down to, there's about 10 areas in our life that we need to have in balance. And I'm going to go through those 10. They're not in any order because they shouldn't be ranked. They should be balanced, right? So the document you received was an Excel spreadsheet. And it has across the top the 10 areas for life alignment. And then what I asked you to do was rate yourself. Take every single category and rate yourself on a scale to 1 to 10. And tell me how you rate that. That's just like pulse check. How do I feel in my career? Some of us are a 3, some of us are a 10. There's all kinds of that. I'm gonna get to your comments at the end. I promise I'll take all your answers towards the end. But I'll read the comments as I rewatch the live as well. I'm gonna get distracted easily. So thank you for your comments though, but I'll tap into them as soon as I can. So the 10 areas, right? So rate yourself in every alignment so that you have some awareness. The one thing that I realize that a lot with clients is you'll ask, how do you feel about your career? Oh, it's a 5. Okay, tell me all the things that you would want. And I was doing this with clients and the list just gets long because we always have to come from this place of like, I don't have enough, or me falta esto, no me dieron esto. Like it's easy for us to play victim. And I thought, this doesn't feel good. There's obviously something in this person's life that that they're proud of, and that maybe they weren't there before and they have now. So now what I do is take career, for instance, give yourself a rating, and we do this once a quarter with my clients. Give yourself a rating, and then tell me 5 things in your career that you have that you love, and then 5 things that you want. And then after you focus on all filling out, the 5 things that you have in every category and the 5 things that you want in every category, then go back and re-rate yourself in every category. And what you'll realize is sometimes all that shit's in your head. The fact that I'm not happy with my career, or I'm not happy in my love life, or I'm not happy in my finances, or I'm not happy with my spirituality, and it's sad how hard we are on ourselves. Like, forget what the world tells us and what the media tells us. Like, we are our hardest critics. And so when you do that little exercise and you speak from a place of abundance, at least for 5 things, and then here are the 5 things I want to work on, it's you really just have to just own that shit, that you didn't have those 5 things at one point and you do now. And here are the other 5 things that you want to work on. So that's just kind of like this, oh shit, I'm actually in a pretty good place. Like, let me just own the hard work that I've already put in and recognize that there's going to be some work ahead. So I'll go through the 10 categories now. So the first category, again, no ranking because they should all be even, is career. And I'll give you some examples. So for me in my career is, I've always wanted strong access to senior leadership, and I have that. I mean, I'm very privileged. I get to fly private with senior leaders of my company to different events. I get all of that stuff. So I have no problem with just marching into my executive leaders and having a candid conversation with them. Obviously, once I get on their schedule, you butter up the secretary a little bit so that she can squeeze you in. But and I have that in other places as well. So that's a really important thing for me that I've worked very hard and very strategically to make sure that happens. One thing that I want for my career is this. I want to be able to have this elevated platform where I get to coach and mentor women and launch a service that comes with that, that I'll announce later. I'm still working on the details, but there will be an experience for a group of women to enjoy with exclusive access to me and each other. So more to come. So that's one of the things I want. The second one is family, friends, and community. One of the things that I have is I have incredible friends who know I'm kind of crazy. So there is so much that I want to do in my life. I want to solve generational poverty. I want abs. I want to travel. I want to see my family. There's just all these things that I want. And so maintaining relationships sometimes is difficult. And I've had these conversations with my girlfriends, and you saw Susan on here earlier. I schedule quarterly on Monday nights a connection with one of my friends. So on Monday, I know between 8 and 9 or whatever time we decide, once a quarter, I have dinner on that Monday night with a friend, and it's via FaceTime, and we're just eating and talking. And my friends are mostly in New York and in other places, so that's kind of how I have to do it, because San Antonio is new to me, and making friends in your 30s is not exactly the easiest. So they're amazing with me. my brother FaceTimes with me with the baby. You have, and that's something that I want. I want us to get on a schedule where we can have those things. So the one thing that I want is a stronger local network. So again, something that I have is friends that really support me and really get on my calendar, and we align each other's calendars and make that happen. And then the other thing that I want is, or the thing that I want, is a stronger network. So in terms of number 3, it's finances. So finances is spending on what matters, right? That's how you got to think about your finances. Are you spending your money on the things that truly, truly matter to you? And so for me, one thing that I have is a really balanced retirement plan. I know down to the dollar how much I need to save every month in order to retire at the amount that I want to have as income every single year of my retirement. So I've been pretty diligent with that. I have different accounts. I have 401ks. I invest on the side. So that's something that I have that I'm very proud of. Something that I want is zero debt. So as I said, I spent 2 years on my MBA not working and just fully taking in the experience and loading on the debt. And I've recently committed to try to get myself out of that college debt over the next 2 years. And I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Number 4 is intellectual stimulation. So are you learning and are you growing? And so one thing that I have is I found this network. A bunch of my friends went to it last year in California. It's an event called We All Grow, and I want to attend that next year. It's on my calendar. It's booked. I know I'm going to get that there. One thing I want is more corporate training, right? I want more of that intellectual stimulation from my corporate side. So I will work on that. Number 5 is leisure and adventure. Opening yourself up to experiences so that you can have a sort of a broader mind and a more an open mindset to different experiences. And so one thing that I have is I've been able to visit 15 countries. One thing that I want under this leisure and adventures, I want to learn to play the guitar. So that is something that I really want to work on, because I was gonna learn a song for my mom for her birthday and play it for her. But her birthday's in 25 days and that's not gonna work. So I gotta work on that. The 6th is nutrition, exercise, and appearance. Weight goals. How do you feel about yourself? One thing that I have is the knowledge on how to stay fit. And there is an amazing program that I highly recommend by Myra. Her Fit Me Challenge is incredible. So it really taught me how to be disciplined and what works for me. One thing I want is to be better at meal planning, right? How do I really focus in on that? So I'm actually working right now with a nutritionist to come up with 4 super easy breakfast, 4 lunch, and 4 dinner for that boss lady on the go to just have it and run with it. So once I get that document, I will definitely share it with all of you. Number 7 is your physical environment. So your home, your car, things like that. That's pretty explanatory. Like, are you living in a comfortable home? Are you satisfied with the car you have? How's your workspace? Just your physical environment. The next is rest, recovery, and mental health. So this is a big deal. Do you know what you need to recover, and how often do you need it? A lot of us have no idea what that is, and you have to start practicing that self-care to understand when you need to just shut down and, invest in yourself a little bit. So one thing that I have that is super important to me when I work anywhere is how much vacation time do I have, how much personal time, and sick day do I have. So I feel very good about that. I negotiated that with my offer letter. So that's something to consider. And then I just want to get more consistent with that. I just need to get more consistent with it. And I've got it on my calendar, and I'll talk and explain that. The next one is romance, right? Everyone wants love, to be loved. Really understanding, do you know your love language? Do you know your partner's love language? Are they aware of your needs? All of those things. So that's that. And then the last one is a sense of purpose or spirituality. Do you know what your true sense of self is and what you're going to contribute to this world? Do you feel that you have the spiritual connection to a greater being? Whatever that is, it's sort of Do you know what your sense of purpose is and what your spirituality is, and where that stands? So, yeah, so those are the 10 areas. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of us are in the same situation, and there's not a whole lot I'm going to tell you tonight that you're like, whoa, that's crazy information that I probably couldn't Google, right? A lot of us could find almost every answer to everything on Google. But what actually works is what actually gets done, right? And so one thing that we have to remind ourselves is that our mindset when we're trying to evolve is super important. Like, change is hard, change physically hurts. So it's really, really important to acknowledge that you have to be in this right mindset. And so there are two mindsets to be in. And the first one is a very primal instinct. A very primal instinct is exactly as it sounds. It's primal. It's, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. I'm cold, I'm going to cover up. And you're just sort of reacting to everything that's happening to you in life. Versus a modern instinct, and we're like the only creatures on the planet, I'm assuming from what we know, that can actually plan ahead, that can actually control our environments. And so we're very unique, and that's something, you know, we're not running away from fear anymore. We're not hunting our own food. Well, in Texas, a lot of people do, but you get what I mean. There's HEBs in grocery stores now. You can figure it out. But it's really important to understand that there's that primal instinct and that modern instinct. And let me tell you about that primal instinct. I call that instinct the cave woman, right? You're either going to be a cave woman in that primal instinct, or you're going to be a boss lady in that modern instinct. So you need to have the boss lady really, really, really supervise that cave woman, because it's very easy for that cave woman to come home and just say, I'm tired, I'm just going to relax, I'm not going to get anything done. And so you have to use this boss lady mindset to shut down that cave woman that says, I'm tired, I don't want to do that. And all these defaults. A lot of us have these defaults that are so low because we've just let ourselves just slide and slide and slide with all our goals, all our ambitions. So our default is so low that you're almost embarrassed to admit it. That maybe that's why social media is so hyped up, because in 1 minute you can post something about your life that shows that your default is maybe a little higher when really it's not, right? So it's really important to understand where you're operating from. Again, I'm going to tell you, you need to supervise the cave woman, and I can't stress that enough. I just can't. And so that boss lady is also going to learn to understand delayed gratification, right? I love on Friday nights, I come home from work, I have my garden. Some of you have seen my garden. My cucumbers are growing, my okra's growing. I love my garden. I come home on a Friday night, and that's my time. I get my glass of whiskey on ice, you know, just whiskey, a little CBD, and I go outside and I hang out with my plants, because that's me time, and that's my reward for crushing it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Like, I know what I'm doing from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, and I'm gonna tell you why this is super, super, super important. I know some of you are probably thinking, ew, like, I can't be that scheduled. Like that sounds like a boring ass life. Well, it's not, because you know exactly what's supposed to be happening in your life at every freaking moment. If not, everything just starts happening to you, and you're just sort of being reactive, and you don't even know if you're focusing on the right things. You're just feeding that cave woman instinct to just react to whatever's happening to her. So I'm going to walk you through why it's so important to really, really acknowledge those 10 areas in your life and understand where it is that you want to spend your time and where you want to focus. So those of you that received that ahead of time probably did this exercise and probably started to build this like big ass to-do list, right? All this to-do list of everything I need to get done now that I understand when I'm coming from a place from abundance and a place of need. I'm going to tell you that that's great that you did that to-do list, but you need to just throw that shit away. Here's why. There are no secrets to your life. If you want me to know what you actually believe, all I need to do is look at your calendar. If you believe that, you know, you have the willpower to get fit and get it done, your calendar is going to show me that at 5 a.m. you're at the park running your ass in circles to lose that weight. If you think you're really going to get that next promotion, you're showing me the networking events that you're going to, the investment that you're doing with the books that you're reading. These to-do lists are great to data dump. And I always say that by 8 p.m. on Sundays, my week is done. It's fully structured. So get in your mind this to-do list of everything you need to do. Dump it out onto a sheet of paper if you need to. Physically writing is a very magical thing. But get it off that paper and throw it away because it should all be in your calendar. So for instance, and I talk a lot about weight because that's kind of one of the things that everyone is struggling with, right? And it's pretty easy for all of us to identify with. So let's say you're saying, Avilia, I come home from work and I can't get myself to move to the gym. Well, what time are you supposed to be at the gym? I would like to be at the gym at 6. Okay, so at 6:15 you're in your car, or at 5:45 you're in your car. Okay, put that on your calendar. At 5:30 you're changing, filling up your water bottle, taking your pre-workout, right? And then so on and so forth. So it's really easy for you to wake up on Monday morning and you've completely just outlined everything you need to do for the day. So there's no room for not executing. You know that, think about the mornings, right? I'm going to channel in a friend right now that drives me nuts with her alarm. Every time I stay over, there's like 15 freaking alarms that go off. I don't understand that. If I don't have to be up to 6, my damn alarm is not waking me up until 6, not at 5:30 so that it goes off for 30 minutes. That makes no sense to me. If you know, ladies, that you're going to give yourself 30 minutes to just kind of keep hitting snooze and that brings value to you, by all means. But just know exactly what your timeline is. It's some of you say, okay, I get off the work at 5, and then I got to get home, and then I got to cook, and then I got to play with the kids. Well, how much time do you spend cooking? I hate the conversation of, I don't have time. It's bullshit. It's just not scheduled, and you don't know how much time you need. So if you say, okay, I get home at 5, I need to be at the gym at 6, that means I got 45 minutes. Then that's what you have. You have 45 minutes to cook up a meal and serve your family and get your ass to the gym. Or get your ass to your room to study for that PhD or that master's degree or the live chat with Avilia. Whatever it is, so much of us think, I don't have time. Is it scheduled? Do you even know what you're doing with your time? It's so important. That's why I tell everyone, throw the to-do list away. Build it up. And on Sundays by 8 p.m., your week should be completely mapped out, to the T. And then you say, well, what if some things come up? Okay, they're on the schedule for next Sunday. That's it. And you're going to feel so good about it because you'll have taken the time to look at those 10 categories and understand, I've got some work to do on myself in self-care or in romance or in my career or in finance, in all these different areas. And everything on your calendar is going to have everything to do with one of those areas. So when someone comes at you and says, oh, it's Wednesday night. And this is how they would probably try and get me. It's Wednesday night. You love to salsa dance. Let's go out salsa dancing. I'm going to say, well, I kind of got to get up at 5 because I got to be running at 5:30. So I can go out, but I need 8 hours of sleep, which means I need to be in bed by 9. So not going to happen this week. But you know what? I'll take a rest on Thursday next week. I got you next week, girl. We'll do it. And you just plan that way, and people will learn to respect your schedules. One thing that I hate is when people tell me, oh, you're so busy. I'm not busy. I am scheduled, and I love everything on my schedule. I control my true experience for the entire week. Yes, accidents and things are going to happen, but for the most part, Monday comes, and I'm excited for Monday because everything I'm going to get done, everything on my schedule is planned. Everything there's nothing on there. There's no shit that I don't want to do. I don't do it. I don't. One of you made comments on how do you manage people who don't support you or this ambition? I say this all the time. I love books. The characters don't always make it to the end. Everyone is not going to make it past every chapter in your life. And that's okay. It's absolutely okay. Or maybe they'll come back, but maybe 5 chapters down the line. You got to take care of yourself first. When you're super happy, you're going to be a better employee. When you're super happy, you're going to be a better mother, a better sister, a better friend, a better everything. But until you take that time to step back and really think about, how do I go after this and where do I focus? You're just going to be a cave woman. You're just going to be reacting, right? Completely. Some of you say, well, how do I do all of this and have time for everyone else? Here's the truth. If I were to ask you, what's a good mom, right? I'm not a mother. Well, I have two little kittens that I adopted. But, I always hear this from women, like, how do I do all of that and be a mom? And it to me, one of my clients, we did this exercise, and it was really eye-opening for her, and I love what she got from it. She was a full-time mom, full-time student, full-time worker, and full-time wife, right? Those were the things that were important to her. And she was just feeling torn to shreds. And I told her, why? And she's like, I can't be everything to my family, even my exterior family. I'm having to miss events. Like, I can't manage it all. I was like, well, what are you managing? And we went through this exercise where I had her sit down with her husband and say, how do you want me to really show up for you in life this week? What is really important for me to do for you? Is that dinner on the table? Is that 15 minutes together? Is that, is it, whatever it is, ask him. Do the same thing with your children. Her and her husband were an amazing tag team. They had scheduled and their kids going to like 100 different things during the week. And she had to acknowledge, I can't go to every single event of my child this week. So she had a sit down conversation with her child to say, Mija, you have 5 events this week. Which one is the most important one? Where do you want me to fully show up? And so she tried this for a few weeks, and she just absolutely loved it because her children respected and knew which event she was going to be at. And that one event she was at, she was completely present and involved. And you might want to try that. So if you have a lot of people in your life that you're feeling you're having to please and they're taking up your time, instead of putting you don't know what their expectations of you are, ask them how you should show up in their life so that they still feel like you love them and care for them, but you still have the time to do your thing. So don't be afraid of those conversations, because like I said, she only went to one event, but she was fully present. So get in the habit of, even when you make new friends, how do I love you? Like, what would be good for you? Like, I have a friend who says, I don't need to see you all the time. I need to talk to you. I just know when I'm going to see you again. Like, as long as, if that's like 6 months from now and she lives in Houston, then we're good. And we have a date and we'll catch up then. Okay, good. Everyone, we're all different, and we all need all kinds of attention, and we have these desires in relationships, but sometimes they pull very hard. So try to manage that. All right. I don't know where we're at on time. Let me see. I wish that screen would tell us like what time it is. Sorry, give me 1 second. So it's 8:30. Oh, 30 minutes. Okay, good. So one of the areas that a lot of you were asking me about was, let's go into the finance category. And I'm going to be honest, this is very hard to do because the comments were very, very, very vague. Like, talk about debt. Well, there's a lot of things we can talk about when it comes to debt. So I highly encourage you all to sign up for our next, you're right, I have a clock and I said it. It's behind me. Good call, Jessica. Thank you. Sorry. Where was I? So some of you said debt, right? Let's talk about debt. And that's not a problem. I encourage you all to sign up for the next talk that I'm going to have. And you can put your comments in there and things that you want me to adjust, but give me detail, like give me the juice so that I can do some really good hard research for you and really, really show up for you. So do that for me. So I'm going to talk about debt, at a very high level, throw some tips of information and tools that I've used, and be very vulnerable about my situation. To start off, debt is very painful. It's a constant reminder of maybe some mistakes or many mistakes that we've made in managing our finances. So if you're coming from a place where you're torn apart and it hurts you, and just acknowledge that you're in that position and own it and commit to leaving the cave woman style and becoming a boss lady and really owning that. So be very, very, show yourself a lot of grace. It's okay. We've all messed up. And here's what I'll tell you. When I graduated with my MBA, my credit score was like 515, 520. It was below 550. I can promise you that. And it was because I chose that lifestyle. There was only so much I could get in scholarships. There was only so much I could get in loans. And I had to take on some credit card debt, and I was paying the minimum on most of it, and they were maxed out, and I did what I could, but I knew that once I graduated and I gave myself that 2-year experience, I was going to pay it down. And so today, my credit score is a 779. So for those of you that are thinking I'm totally screwed forever, it's not like that. There are many easy Google searches on how to fix your credit that I think are easy to understand, and I could get into those details as well, but I just want to give you an approach on how to think about debt. So I have all these different debt structures, and so there's 2 strategies to debt. You can take an avalanche strategy or a snowball strategy. So an avalanche strategy is saying, which card am I paying the most interest on? And that's the debt you attack first. Some of you just like to say, well, which debt is the smallest amount of debt? And I'd rather like chip at it that way. And so you sort of start little and then you start paying off the bigger ones. That's the snowball effect. 100% agree with you. There's an amazing book out there I'm reading right now to try to create a whole study session on how to do kids money management. And there's a book that's out to teach your kids entrepreneurship that is getting a lot of follows and a lot of good posts. So I'll post that as well. Okay, so I'm more of the which one is costing me the most. I do the avalanche approach. Which one I want to take down the one that's costing me the most interest. So think about that. For those of you that want some really strategic support, try not to get support from profitable companies because they only charge you more and you're already at a tight squeeze. So use nonprofits. So a good resource is nfcc.org. That's a really good website to help you understand and get the resources for reestablishing your credit. The next thing I'll talk about is your budget. I use mint.com, mint.com. It's a super fabulous budgeting tool, and this is why I love it, because you can put everything in there from how much cash you have, your credit cards, your loans, your investments, and you link them. Like, you don't have to go in there and punch any monkey numbers in. You don't have to be a cave woman. This shit just links automatically to all your accounts. Do I trust it? Yes. They're owned by Intuit. Intuit is a public company, and so if there's a breach of anything, that shit's going to be all over the news, and they don't want that, right? They also own QuickBooks and all of that stuff, so I trust them. Mint.com, that's where I put everything. So this thing lets you budget, right? You can say, okay, I spend this much on gas, this much on groceries, phone, utilities, right? But there's this really cool section at the bottom that they call everything else, which is basically all the shit you forgot to budget. And so as the month is going by, you're going to see your transactions build that up, and you're going to become really aware of the stuff that you don't realize you spend money on every month, and how much that really adds up to. So that's a super good tool and resource to get you there. And I know you're probably saying, look, Avilia, you've been making 6 figures since you were 22. You don't know what it's like to budget, or you don't know this. Look, I get it. I don't come from a family that had a lot of resources. I remember when I was super young. I mean, most of elementary, we didn't get really good off until maybe I went to high school. Then we started having a little bit more of an established lifestyle. But I mean, I know what it feels like to eat flour in your beans, to spread out the beans a little bit, or milk into the beans to stretch them thin. I know what it's like to, to think strategically and have to shop at a Goodwill on Wednesdays because shit's half off. And a lot of the times I go back to that mindset, right? Because I've recently committed that over the next 2 years, I'm going to pay off all my debt. I'm carrying my cash in my pocket now for how much I have to spend that week. And that's all I'm doing. And you got to get a little creative. And so, for those of you that are really, really struggling, like, I get it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, like, I don't live comfortably now, because I do. And I've worked very, very fucking hard for it. Like, it took me 13 years to get to Harvard graduation. Like, there's a lot of shit I had to go through to get to that huge pinnacle peak. So, I'm here for you. I understand you. You can DM me more personal questions, experiences, whatever. It'll give me a better sense of who you are, where you're coming from, and what your needs are. Okay, so once we start tackling the debt, you got to get your budget right so that you can figure that out. I had questions about retirements. If your company, you're going to piss me off if your answer is no. Does your company have a 401k that matches, and are you investing in it? If the answer is no, you are leaving free money on the table every single paycheck. If your company has a match program, like, I don't even know what to tell you right now. That is free money. That is someone saying, if you put $1, I'm going to add 50 cents. If you put $2, if you put $1, some companies will put $3. Like, it's super important to get that match, but it's also important to understand how you have that portfolio money allocated. So if your company is doing a match, like, you got to be on that free money shit. Like, yes, shout out to my girls who do, because just shut that cave woman up and let the boss lady do her job, okay? Because, like, there is no excuse for that. So once you got that going, and again, you have to run the model. You have to know exactly how much you need to be saving every month to hit retirement. Because if you only need to save X amount of dollars, what do you do with the rest of that shit? You have vacations, you enjoy your life, you enjoy a little Ross shopping spree when you need to get yours, because I got this at Ross. But if you don't know your numbers, like, how do you know how much to keep putting in retirement? And if you don't know how much to put in retirement, how are you going to be strategic about, do I do 401k? Do I do a Roth? Do I invest on my own? Like, we need to know your numbers, and that's a big part. And so I'm working through a spreadsheet that's going to be super easy for you to do. I have an amazing one right now, but you kind of need to do a one-on-one with me to work through that. I'm going to redo the spreadsheet so that it's super easy for you to navigate it, and so you know your number on how much you need to save for retirement, and then the rest we can budget and do stuff with it. Yes, I do have my own investment account. I invest in stocks on a platform called Robinhood. And after this, I'll post on my social media, on my Instagram, the Robinhood app. It's 0 fees. So literally everything you invest, there's no fee. That is huge. So some of you have your investments outside of 401ks with company who might be controlling your assets. And that's fine. And they'll tell you, okay, you have a 10% return. But ask them, what is my true return after your fees? Because a lot of the times you could give someone, call it $5,000 a year is what they end up with to invest for you. And they'll say, look, your return was 15%. And then after fees, they charge you 5. So you're like, end up with 10, and still that's decent. But make sure that if someone else is investing the money for you, that you ask them, what was my return after your fees? Really, really, really get that. But I love Robinhood app. I buy all kinds of shit on that app. So I'm very much about IPOs, which are initial public offerings. The first time a company goes public. So are you guys familiar with the whole like food craze around why is it skipping my head right now? Acorn is good, but they have some fees in there, but yeah, Acorn is good. The meatless stuff. Oh my God, why is the name of the company not sticking to me right now? Anyways, it's really, I invested in that company. There's a lot of Impossible Burger's not there yet. There's another one, and it's really pissing me off that I can't think of it right now. Anyways, when a company goes public, Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, like all these companies and things that you use, they go public for the first time. I love buying their stock, and I have a whole strategy for how to do that. I can't recommend what exact stocks you should invest in. Tofu. Beyond Meat. Yes. Thank you so much. It's Beyond Meat. The shit that's all over Burger King right now. So I invested in Beyond Meat, right? And so you get to like be a part of all this news and media. And there's a ton of resources. I listen to Market Snacks every morning on Spotify. It's a podcast. It's 15 minutes and it's fun. Like, I super, super love it. So, yeah, I do that too. So that's another little bit. Again, it was really hard to like deep dive into something because everyone's questions were just kind of generic. So I'm learning how to do better group coaching. So if we were one-on-one, we'd be, just tackling and putting shit on our calendars so that you knew what to do, when to do it. And if some of you aren't ready for the investment side and you're on a really tight budget, here's a piece of advice. Figure out how to save 10% in your house, right? This is gonna get very colorful. So you know how much toilet paper you buy and how often. You know how many rolls of toilet paper you need for your family to survive that month, right? And you probably know which toilet paper you like. As soon as that toilet paper goes on sale, like 20% off, load up for the month, for the quarter, you just saved yourself 10%. I kind of say that's almost the same thing as investing your money. You're saving your money, right? You're either making 10% on investments, or you could be saving 10% in your expenses that you're already doing. So just maybe that's the exercise for this week that you want to give yourself for your finances, is how can you save 10% on things that you can calculate how much you need to get you through that next month or that next that next month or this next quarter. Yes, I'm gonna save the live. The podcast is called Market Snacks. Or Snacks now, because they're owned by Robinhood. Oh, that's right. The Robinhood app where I trade, they actually bought this company. These guys who do this podcast. I've been following these guys like years ago, and I gave them to all my mentees. Like, I've known about them. I've been hot on their radar. And then when the company I invest with actually bought them, I was like, yes! I loved it. So really good shit there. Let's see. For those of you that are in a really good position and are like, I want the most strategic credit card that's out there, Avilia, which one do I have? So I don't have it. I actually was going to show it to you, but I have the Venture from Capital One. That credit card, and again, please be very smart with your credit cards, okay? This is just general advice. Take it with a grain of salt. I don't know your particulars. So it's called the Venture Capital Credit Card. It's $95 a year, but the first year is free. But here's why I love it. Every 4 years, you get a $100 credit so that you could get, the pre-TSA check. So you can check right through security when you're at the airport, or global entry. So if you travel globally, you can go through the fast lane of check-in, and dear God, you need that every time you check in through Miami. Their security checkpoint is the worst. So if you have global entry, it's fantastic. So they'll give you the $100 credit for that. I just like the card. I like anything from Capital One. I love their app platform, their customer service. If you've never had a credit card in your life and you're disciplined and ready and want to use it strategically, Capital One has some pretty good first-time user opportunities. Again, I don't know your situation, so I'm not saying go out and get a credit card and load it up. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving some resources. Questions about real estate, I'm not going to go into that because it's a lot. I have had rental properties. It's not my style. Again, everything in your life needs a strategy. I'm all about strategy. And I've had the rentals. Now I'm going to start developing and building my own communities because I really, 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 really want to solve generational poverty by proving that housing and education works. So I'll keep posting about this shit on my social media. You'll eventually get where I'm going, but that's the life purpose goal that I have. I think that's it for now. I'm going to shut up because I think I answered most of the questions that came out. Don't be afraid to DM me. Don't be afraid to send me emails at lifecoachavilia@gmail.com. If you want the PDF or the Excel spreadsheet that I was talking about, sign up for actually, I'm not going to have a live next Tuesday. I'm really sorry. I do have a full-time job and I really, really have some events I need to attend. And it happens to be during that time. But the following Tuesday at 8 p.m., I'm going to try to commit every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Put it on your calendars, ladies. Not your to-do list. We don't do to-do lists. So I'm just going to open it up, and I'll see if there are any questions that you guys have, and I'll just, we'll go from there. Any questions? I guess I got 10 minutes for Q&A. I'm thirsty. I really hope this was an enjoyable experience for all of you. Again, I'm new to the group life coaching, so it's hard to give very strict advice, but big takeaways are: know what your 10 categories are, balance that out. Don't make to-do lists, throw that shit away, put it on your calendar. That's how I'll know what you really believe. If it's on your calendar, you're really believing in it. How do you stay motivated and focused on your goals? It goes back to knowing exactly what I want to focus on and blocking shit that doesn't meet that purpose. So on Sundays at 8 p.m., everything that I want to get done is on my calendar. And I know that it takes me a little bit longer to get to the field to run. So I give myself a little bit more time when I wake up in the morning, drink my warm water, change, get out the door. I know that my warm-up time is a little bit longer on Mondays, and I schedule for that. So I stay motivated by managing my time. That's one of the biggest things. And surrounding myself with other boss ladies. Stop hanging around with cave women. It ain't gonna work. If you keep surrounding yourself with boss ladies, you're gonna have this energy. And so I'm trying to commit to you once a week on Tuesdays to be here for you and try to breathe as much life and support as I can into all of you. So I'll commit to that. I think I missed a question. How do you deal with family stress when you're trying to figure out your life? That's really good. That hits a personal chord. I help where I can, and I give my family to-do lists, right? Okay, if you want me to help you with this, maybe you need to think about that, and if you're willing to do that, then I'll help you with this. And a lot of the times, and it breaks my heart, I've had family members who have asked me can you help me with this? And I'm like, yeah, okay, find out this, and this, and then we'll have a conversation. But they don't hold up their end. So I'm not going to waste my time. I mean, I love my family, don't get me wrong, and I want to be there for them, but I come first. And when I'm in a really good position, I'm blessed. I have a little extra money and I help, or I have a little extra time. I'll get on a plane and go see you, or you gotta take care of yourself first, because if not, it's life sucks. You're just gonna be stressed. Your body's not gonna be happy about it. Managing family is hard, but you gotta protect your personal space. You gotta protect your calendar. If they want your time, say, okay, well, when do you want to see each other? Okay, in 2 weeks from now on Sunday for 3 hours, me and you, what do you want to do? Let's just hang out and have some wine. Then that's what we're gonna do, right? Talk to them. Ask them how to show up in their lives and what they really need. And don't be afraid to say, okay, well, when you do this, then I'll do this. And grow together, right? And encourage each other. And that's a very broad question. Again, I can't give a lot of specificity, but I'd love to have a deeper conversation about that. Okay, let's see. Any books you recommend on learning how to invest? I'm reading 3 right now. And I won't... it says I have 2 minutes remaining on live. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to get through those books and then I'll share them. What made you choose this career? Ooh, that's a good one. I can't answer that in 1 minute and 30 seconds, but all right, I'll make note of that. How do you do it when your significant other hates schedules? I make the best outline my day and he loves to be on his own time, so it throws off my plan. Do it on your own, girl. I was in a relationship like that where I wanted to do something and I just say, look, this is what I'm going to be doing during this time, and I really, really wish you would join me for it, but I really want to do this. And I would just go. And eventually they started to go with me because they saw I wasn't just going to sit around and cave woman with them. But I know it's your husband, and I would need to have more context. That's just a dump, but so much more context needs to be provided for that. So, yeah, that was kind of reactive, but I would need more details. You're right, I had to go to food shopping. My mother called to pick her up from work, and now I have the milk to put her more. You gotta do you. And if she knows I do my grocery shopping every Monday between 5 and 8, she's gonna know. Mija's grocery shopping Monday, 5 and 8. Let me call one of my other kids or something. I don't know. People will respect your schedule when you teach them how to respect you. Respect yourself. This is the last thing I'm gonna say. If somebody invited you to coffee, you're going to show up for them, right? You're going to show up to that coffee. How many times do you not show up for coffee with yourself? If you make an appointment on that calendar to be there for yourself, show up. How can you expect other people to show up for you in your life when you're not showing up for yourself? Show up every moment for yourself in your calendar. So this is going to cut off. I'm going to end it. Hopefully I can repost it. Thank you for being my day one tribe. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. And let's stay connected. How do you do this?